No, it's not. It's only back on it. Okay, back again. Another episode of A Muslim and Atheist Breaks Bread. What you say, Pop?
Yeah, good man.
Nice, yeah?
Yeah, you're getting better. Sun shining nearly.
Nearly. Well, winter's upon us now. Just want to say to everyone, thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing. And what I'm going to now ask you to do, is just share the videos with your friends, and the more comments, likes you got, just means more support, the more we can grow the channel. We're trying to get to 10k followers quick. So, support the cause, man. Support the cause, it's free. Don't even have to pay anything. Okay, today, this is actually from one of our subscribers. Well, a few actually have said to do this video. So it's a 16 Indian philosophies explained like strategies in a game. What do you think to that part?
Hello, Ashrish here. So ever since I
game.
made the last Marathi video, something in me has like changed. I don't know मैं कैसे explain करूँ, but it's like my inner खपसपना has been like pretty much of
I think I've seen this in so I've heard mention of this
Yeah, so in this sassy IIP zone, I thought of making a meme. What if Indian philosophies were like strategies in a game? It kind of blew up on the internet. A lot of you also asked me to make a detailed video about it. So this is that video. Acha, before we dive right into the heart of it all, let's take a step back and think about what is Indian philosophy in general. You must have heard that India is
a land of seekers, not a land of believers.
Because in Desh mein, we have always sought for something. Sought for what exactly? Well, you know, the usual fun stuff. Ways to reduce suffering, finding the meaning of life, attain enlightenment. Society jab affluent ho jati hai, then it climbs up the Maslow's pyramid. And we move to doing all this deep shit about life and all that stuff. And because like time pe Indian civilization, had 25% of the world's GDP, it had enough time and energy to experiment with all the deeper questions of life. And जितने लोग थे उतने approaches to life, उतने ही strategies to plan how life should be. काफी कुछ like playing a game of PUBG, BGMI, sorry. Different players have different strategies to win. Some prefer close range combat while others like sniping from a distance. आप defensively भी खेल सकते हो या you can drop into Pochinki and wage an all-out war. The goal is the same, to emerge victorious, but the paths to get there are multiple. So there is a natural analogy to how you play a game and how you live your life. Okay, another disclaimer, all this is in good fun, so don't take it too seriously. If you're easily offended, maybe grab like a chai or something and come back when you're feeling a little more chill, alright? Chalo, let's start with the first category, the easy mode. This is the easy mode, where we're just playing the game casually. The strategies in this mode are beginner friendly, matlab they're easy to understand and get started with, but that does not mean that they're necessarily easy to master. That is also why they're the most popular of all the strategies in this chart. Gaming terms में बोलूँ तो it is tough to get a high score using these strategies, but game के मजे आप काफी ले सकते हो. So let's start with the first strategy, Bhakti. Bhakti is the most democratic strategy out there. The Sanskrit word for devotion, Bhakti is all about surrendering yourself to the game creator. In Bhakti, you use your emotions to please the creator, worship the creator, and basically dedicate yourself to him, hoping that along the path he will be impressed with your devotion and also maybe help you out. Bhakti strategy mein, you don't imagine God as some mysterious abstract force in the sky. Instead, you give him a form, often an idol or an image. And not just that, you see him like a person, like a friend, a child, a master or a lover. You basically humanize the creator. Now, if you're not the emotional kind, you might find all of this kind of sweet, but also a little bit cringy. I mean, these guys are playing the game more from their hearts than their minds. You could also say that since Bhakti folks primarily operate through emotion, noob Bhakti players can easily get corrupted. They might end up following all sorts of cults, becoming excessively obsessed, or even getting lost in the theatrics of it all, and also get exploited in the process. But well, because of its raw appeal, Bhakti is incredibly popular, and not just in India, but everywhere. You could also say that Bhakti is like the gateway drug of religion. It's often the first step that people take towards exploring their spiritual side. Whether you're a casual player or a hardcore devotee, Bhakti offers a way to connect with the divine on a very deeply personal level.
Once you're into that level.
Well,
Hold on, this is all the beginner level. This is saying this is the
these are the
easy
4 minute
states.
level, but again, not being a gamer. Is said explain what the philosophy areas are, but go on, I want to see how the game is played.
But I don't think he's talking about like in that essence. What he's saying is like this is how. So he says you start the game on beginner level, and so that's like basically the easiest way to get through life. I think I'm taking that meaning.
Yeah, but how do you play the game?
Well, this is what he's explaining now. So he's saying if you're on beginner level, that Bhakti, that's like one, what's it like, strategy within that, which is basically devotion and giving yourself to a higher purpose. I think that's what he's saying. Yeah, let me know if I'm right. So we'll continue and see how it unfolds.
Moving on, the Puran strategy. The Puran players are the second most popular players of the game. Puran or Purana, however you want to pronounce it, literally means old or ancient stories. If you are a Purana player, you are basically the ultimate lore nerd of the game. You know everything about the game's mythology, the stories of the top players, the many gods and demons, heroes, side heroes, all of that. Technically, the Purans are the collection of 18 major texts, each focusing on different aspects of the game lore. Some like the Bhagavad Puran are all about the avatars of Vishnu, which are also popular among the Bhakti players.
Bhagavata Puranam starts where Mahabharatam ends. It elaborates about the end of Mahabharatam and its aftermath. It talks about the history of Parikshit Maharaja, start of Kali Yugam and how it would unfold. Bhagavata Puranam also elaborates the account of the conversation between Uddhava and Vidura.
Others like the Shiv Puran are a little more abstract and delve into the mysteries of the universe.
Shiva Puranam illustrates the origins of Shiva in the form of Agni Stambham, the conflict between Sri Mahavishnu and Brahma. It talks about the sacred rituals of Shivalingam. It talks about the Shiva Tattvam, the philosophy of Shiva.
Then there's the Skanda Puran, the longest Puran actually, which is about Kartikeya, the son of Shiva and Parvati.
Skanda Purana. It is the largest of all the 18 Puranas. Almost every sacred place in Bharat has a place in Skanda Purana.
But the Purans aren't a bunch of dusty old stories only. They're also packed with practical advice and spiritual wisdom. They teach players about enlightenment, the nature of karma, reincarnation, all of which help you level up in the game. Puran shouldn't be confused with Itihas, although they are often mentioned together side by side. And Purans and Itihas together are considered to be the fifth Veda or Ved. Fifth Ved. For players who love to LARP or live action roleplay or imagine themselves as the great heroes, the Purans and Itihas offer a wealth of inspiration. These epic tales provide a framework for understanding the world and your place in it, and enact yourself as Maryada Purushottam Ram or Dharma Pitama Bhishma or the clever Shakuni or the strong Bhim. So, if you're ready to geek out on some ancient Indian lore, grab a copy of your favorite Puran and dive in. Just be warned, you might end up spending more time reading than actually playing the game. And if you don't understand the symbolism, you might take things literally and then be confused with all the conspiracy But hey, that's the life of a true Puran fan. Next we move to the Smartha strategy, or as an Australian would say,
What do you think to that though? I just think in terms of what you're saying and about playing the game, there's like studying the game and playing the game, and what's more important, or how do you view it?
I don't know, man. Don't even know what he's talking about, to be honest, bro. Because to
So
me,
it's like this, and
if I'm playing checkers, then there's a game, and this is telling me, right, basically like chess, all the players, this is their roles. But he hasn't told me how to play the game yet.
But life is the game, and this is the game. So what he's saying to you is now, like, so for what I'm gonna take from it, it's like, so it's kind of having the same conversation, but just completely different context. You got a man who'll get up every day and go to work like 14 hours a day, whatever, become the like master of his craft. He's at work every single day. Like, he's good at what he does. He knows it inside out, but that's all he does, and he lives for that. So let's say like that man's got a family. Yeah, he's thinking, yo, I'm gonna become a master of my craft. I'm gonna build this. I'm gonna build like a legacy. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna provide for my family. Is your man playing the game? Because ultimately, when it's all said and done, you become that master of your craft, but all you've done is kind of sacrificed your time. So what they're saying is that there's different phases to the game. It just depends on how you want to play it. Some man prefer to play it like that. Like you said before, some people prefer to go religious, become like subservient to a higher power. That's part of the game, and so it depends on the strategy that you play in the game. Like going back to that one that you just mentioned, this is what I'm saying. Like people say to you that you have to work this, you have to work hard, you have to do this, but it's all about balancing. Ultimately, you can become a master of your game, but then if you've got no life, then was it worth playing the game? If you look back in 60 years, 70 years, and you think, right, you know what, like I missed all the time with my kids. I never took them nowhere. It's just like built something. Now my time's done. So I missed all the actual value of my life to put into something else. If you get what I'm trying to say. But it depends, like I said, the importance of it depends on how you wish to play your game. You get what I'm saying now?
Yeah, the game isn't a game.
Yeah, the game of my life is a game, isn't it?
Depends how you look at it, boxing.
Depends how you play it. Ultimately, if it's like, really life is a game, when you think of a game, check a game, there's a bunch of rules and regulations you have to follow. The end result is always the end result. It's inevitable. Someone wins, someone loses in the game. Yeah? But so there's always a start and finish, which is life. There's always a start and a finish. We all live in a set of rules. Now people can choose to bend, break, cheat, but then rules still exist. So ultimately how you play that game depends on where you get to the end then. But we'll all end up at the same place, or we're all trying to get to the same place.
Yeah, philosophically, I understand what you're saying, but in terms of using the word game to me, that to me means like chess. It does have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it is something you do with somebody. You can do it by yourself if you want. And it is competitive, fun, interesting, blah blah, all the other things that go with it. What does it teach you? So it has this little element that it teaches you other than the main components of the game. So you could say it's philosophical.
Yeah, of course. It's like art of war.
But this now, what I'm expecting for is instruction. I'm gonna do 4 bottles of water from here to there, and at the end of that, then I'm gonna achieve smarty or have a greater understanding. So I'm looking for the game to be how to achieve these than rather the detail of what they're having done what we've done, and we've gone through these bit by bit. So I understand the philosophy and the school of thought, but the game now, just saying, well, we're just doing it like this just to tell you the same thing again, doesn't really seem like a game, because I'm expecting a tool that I can use to help me understand this better as a game. That's what I'm expecting. But now it's just the same philosophy being recounted.
Yeah, it's been just told in a different way, and it's just meant to be more engaging. But you also
word
think
game to me mean game.
you wanted to watch someone play a game on no rules.
A game, like I said, if I wanted to teach this on the football pitch, then I would incorporate elements of football to represent what I'm doing just to get the message apart. So I would say, right, there's 5 different areas, so that's 5 teams.
Yeah.
And you can only play if this condition applies and if that applies, which brings everything into effect. So it might be that one is, well, you have to set the team up to meet the value, so you set rules around it. So to me, that's the idea of a game, where you're going to use it to like I said, make group participation, pass on information, share information, win ultimately. Participate more for me. You know, me is not a winner, me into participation. So people play and me happy. So that was just my thinking at the beginning. So if it's just saying life is a game and here are the same philosophies again, the same schools of thought, then okay. It will reinforce my learning, help to embed it further, but I'm still looking for the game at the end of the video.
It's your game, man.
Smarter, because
It's a
it claims
long
to
game
be
if
the
you gotta learn
smartest
all this,
strategy.
innit?
The smartest strategy is the jack of all trades strategy. It is all about bringing together the best bits of Hinduism into one package. The founder of Smartaism was Adi Shankaracharya ji, who was kinda like the Steve Jobs of Hinduism. He looked at the different philosophies and practices spread all over India and he thought to himself, hey, we can simplify this for everyone. So he took the Vedanta philosophy, mixed in a bit of yoga, and then blended it all with a chutki of bhakti traditions, and thus was born a streamlined, user-friendly version of Hinduism that anyone could get into. The Smartas are known for their Panchayatna Puja, which is kind of like having an all-star team of deities. You have got Vishnu, Shiva, Shakti, Surya, and Ganesha. In some Smarta tradition, there is even a sixth abstract and impersonal deity to represent the ultimate reality. And if you are in South India, you might see even Kartikeya join the party too. But here's the thing, Smartas believe that all these deities are just different ways to connect with Paramatma. It's like having multiple paths leading to the same destination. You can choose one that resonates with you the most, but ultimately they all lead to the same place. Today, most Hindus, including you, have a bit of Smartism in you, even if you don't realize it. आपके घर में जब पूजा होता है, then you see multiple gods and goddesses के मूर्तिस. They all come from the efforts of Adi Shankaracharya ji. Next on Karma Yoga. Karma yogis are the unsung heroes of the spiritual world. They are like the best supporting actors who sadly never get an award for it. Karma yoga is all about doing your duty without making a fuss about it or without expecting any kind of rewards. It's the ultimate just do it mentality. As we all know, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna famously tells Arjuna,
Yo, Parth, you've got a job to do, my man. Just do it, bruh. Just do it.
Alright, there's a slight chance that Krishna didn't say that, but well, you get the vibe, right? Karma Yoga is one of the four main paths to enlightenment in Hinduism. It's often seen as the easiest path because it does not require any special skills or knowledge. All you need is a willingness to work hard and have a sense of duty. Indians have long been Karma Yogis, I think. At a time when some countries would resort to violence and destroy their culture, our parents and grandparents were masters at showing up to work every single day and putting in the hours no matter how tedious the job was. Like seriously, can you imagine working a single job for 30 years? They had a knack for accepting whatever life threw at them with a smile, hoping to be good parents for us. In a way, this attitude has helped India weather many storms and emerge stronger today. However, it's also important to remember that being a Karma Yogi does not mean to be a pushover. Sometimes all that selfless action can lead to people taking advantage of your good nature. And if you're not careful, you might find yourself stuck in a dead-end job or a stagnant situation. And because you're so detached from the end results, there is less incentive for you to innovate. I feel sometimes you do need obsession and attachment to give you 100%. But well, those are just my thoughts. Who am I to argue with Krishna? So yeah guys, that concludes our easy tire. Before we move on to the next tire, guys, if you have been liking this video, please do like and hit the subscribe button, it really means a lot. And yes, if you like this poster and would like to hang it on your wall to have a conversation starter with your friends, you can find a link in the description box below. Chali, let's now move on to the hard mode. These strategies are definitely not for the beginners. They require us to carefully understand.
So before we move on to hard mode, in beginner mode, which mode did you think you resonate with the most?
Kali Yoga.
The last one.
A new framework to look at reality, and all these strategies involve breaking down reality into smaller fundamental components. This is kind of like looking under the game and tinkering directly with the code yourself. You won't find many casual gamers talking about these strategies at parties, but the true geeks, the ones who are hardcore nerds about the Vedas and the Upanishads, will find a way to these strategies. Alright, let's begin. Nyaya. Nyaya is all about logic and epistemology, the study of truth. It's like Sherlock Holmes of Hindu philosophy, using deductive reasoning to solve the mysteries of the universe. Nyaya players have an algorithm developed to infer at universal truths, the nature of knowledge, and even the existence of God. Nyaya players were the first to develop logical axioms like infinites. For example, all humans are mortal, Shah Rukh Khan is a human, and therefore Shah Rukh Khan is immortal. This kind of way of thinking was the innovation of the Nyaya people. So you can imagine the Nyaya players as the detective debaters of the Hindu world. Next is Vaisheshika. Vaisheshika is the atomic theory of Hindu philosophy. If Nyaya deals with epistemology, Vaisheshika deals with ontology. Rather than an abstract truth, Vaisheshika looks at the physical existence of reality. It breaks down reality into its smallest components, which it calls Paramanu. And then Vaisheshika players try to understand how these Paramanus combine to create the world that we experience. It's kind of like playing a philosophical Minecraft, building up complex structures with simple building blocks. Vaisheshikas have also come up with the concept of new entities forming from the combination of basic entities, which they call samyog. Kind of like how in Minecraft combining a stick and a coal gives us a torch. Vaisheshikas believe that everything in the world is built with such combination of building blocks like Dravya, Gun, Karma, Samanya, Vishesh and Samvaya. Next in line is Sankhya. Sankhya is the dualistic philosophy that sees the world as an interplay between Purusha and Prakriti. Purusha is consciousness and Prakriti is matter. Sankhya's believe that Prakriti is made up of Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, which are the three abstract qualities out of which everything is made up of. Prakriti is drawn to Purusha like iron to magnet, and from this interaction of Purusha and Prakriti, Buddhi or intelligence is created. From this intelligence, Ahankar or identity emerges, and then from this Ahankar, 23 tattvas come into existence. Sankhyas believe that the world is real and cause and effect are tied together in one unit. Excellent description of game mechanics, I must say. Finally comes Mimamsa. Mimamsa folks are the most conservative intellectuals of this time. They focus a lot on Vedic interpretation. It's all about understanding the deeper meaning behind the rituals and the hymns of the Vedas. Mimamsa philosophers have developed complex rules of interpretation, kind of like a secret code for unlocking the wisdom of the ancient rituals and Vedas. So, yeah, there you have it, the hardcore mode of Hindu philosophy. These strategies may not be for everyone, but for those who are willing to put in the work and the effort and the time. This tire offers a deep and rewarding path to understanding the nature of reality. Chaliye, let's now move on.
Don't know all of them, bits of all of them in that one. But it's kind of deeper and it's like karate and yellow belt, orange belt. You just gotta get deeper and deeper, and every level is gonna bring you a different level of understanding. So when you get to the whatever it is, but again, set up for gamer generation. I haven't played Minecraft, so I don't know what it's like. I understand gaming a bit, so I'm gonna use my interpretation to say, okay. But yeah, just an approach to study, I would say, summed up a different approach to study. The information is still the same, I'm still getting the same stuff that we've seen, and yeah, you can get all the way to heaven, but
I think this is quite good because I think it shows like the way.
it's more compartmentalized.
It's just as way as well because people don't tend to. So this is like a good interpretation, I'd say.
It's more
how
succinct.
people. Yeah, like, you know, like the easy mode thing. Like, it's like, I can see that.
Yeah, man, trade is.
Yeah, like, these are like the 5 modes, and it's like religion, study, you become a chameleon. It's like general things that people do it, but then when you get into harder modes, it's weird, because even in the harder modes, though, I would say, like, I would take a bit from all of them. So I wouldn't necessarily have said, that one suits me better, but then I'm looking at Is that because I'm still on easy mode, being a chameleon, thinking that I'm in hard mode? Do you see what I'm trying to say? Or a jack of all trades, or
I suppose there must be up and down in it as well for them when they think they're on a path and then they have to restart and come again. That must be a part of it, innit? So it sounds incredibly hard to understand. After all this time we've been watching, like I said, this is just a better presentation. His English isn't great, but it's more succinct and compartmentalized, so it's breaking it down, making it easier for you to understand. But then hacker mode, terminology is straight gaming mode, so hacking, I don't know what that is, bro.
So I think, this is what I was talking to you before about game, and like the cheat game. So it's hacker mode where hacker mode is like hustle mode, essentially. If I just read someone say hacker mode to life, it's when you got the hack in it. So it's not like you're doing all that study, you're not even looking
it's
at
when you know, in contrast to when you believe.
Or when you cheat.
But you know everything you can take, any path. But when you learn the paths, you have to stick with the paths, or get lost.
Do you think if you learn the path, you have to stick to the path?
Well, I would say, yeah. You know, there are different paths. It's not one path, is it? It's you start at zero and you can go north, east, south, or west in terms of your learning. One's going to carry you to one thing, one's going to carry you to another thing. But if you go halfway down the path, you've still got to come back to go on the other path. That's where the time element comes in. And then you don't have the full information. You might do 3, not like, and go back to the first one. So considerations about how many times you can test and how many of them you'll actually use applies as well, because you're not going to live forever, and to reach enlightenment you obviously want to do it in this lifetime.
Yeah.
Or we work, so you can't go down all the paths unless you learn really, really quick.
Welcome to the hacker mode. Look who decided to venture into the dark underbelly of Indian philosophy, the hacker mode. The place where the rules are bent, the boundaries are blurred, and the mind is pushed to the end limits. If you thought the hard mode was intense, you haven't seen anything at all, my dear friend. Let's start, shall we? Buddhism. Once upon a time in the game of life, there was a player named Siddhartha Gautam. He was born into a wealthy family and all his abilities were maxed out. But as he leveled up and explored the world more, he realized that the whole game is rigged. No matter how many points he scored or how many enemies he defeated or how many treasures he acquired, the feeling of winning was always temporary. But the pain of losing again and again, that suffering, Siddhartha realized, was the only constant. Siddhartha, or as he would be later called the Buddha, had a revelation. The root of all suffering, he realized, was attachment. The desire to win, to conquer, to possess. These were the chains that bound players to the cycle of playing again and again and again, and thereby suffering again and again and again. The only way to break free from this was...
So this is that's like the main philosophy in Buddhism, about this contentment thing. Like, I feel like Buddhism, even though people love it in so much with peace and love. It's funny because I was just going to say
it's avoiding.
I was going to say
avoids.
Tie that to the Muslims.
It's not risk taking, is it?
Muslims in Tibet. But yeah, it's not risk taking. It's not reward seeking.
It is, but the ultimate reward, there isn't any other reward.
Sacrificed, yeah, there isn't any other reward. So to me, like, sometimes it's great, innit? Like I can remember, like, when I was going through a tough time, I read a book on Buddhism. It's called The Art of Happiness, and like it talked about all this, about the differences between like pleasure and happiness, and what Buddhism deems to be happiness, and It's more about being on constant rather than having ultimate
Ups and
highs
downs.
and lows, yeah. Which makes sense for a period, or it makes sense if you're fragile. But I also think that testing yourself, like if there's no like true up or reward up there,
Or down.
yeah, up or down, then I don't really think you can grow. Like you don't grow, you don't learn anything because you've come.
You've already
Detached.
arrived.
Yeah, you already you where exactly you where you're gonna end up. Like how can that be good? You don't test yourself. You can't build resilience. All you've done is detached yourself from reality.
For me, I actually know people like that, and despite all the hustle and bustle of the big shaker movers and their hustle, they're not really any further down the road than the guy who wasn't really connected up. Is still same age, lived this long. He hasn't got the trappings of the desire to own a house or to own a car. He doesn't have them needs, just has a completely different value system. But he's self-fulfilled as a person who needs to have £4 million in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't see it as what he missed. Obviously he's got something along his way,
Yeah.
and that's what makes and shapes who he is.
But that's the thing. Like you're looking at it like. I get that when you're talking about in terms of the big movers and shakers, and if I'm equating like my rewards to money but even just like the desire to have a family, like the desire to have a family, that's not really like a thing, but I think that's like an innate thing that should make you happy. Like I think it should naturally, like if you got a family, you should be happy. Like even just having companionship. Do you know what I mean? Like things like that. So you can become very detached from people and things, and then it's kind of like, it's like I've got someone now and it's saying to me the other day, it was like, I just sound not bothered about things because it's just easier. So it's just like
Avoidance.
exactly that's what I'm saying. It's like it's not that's not reality.
Well,
Like you can detach yourself from like consumer trappings or materialistic trappings. I believe that, but when we're talking about like real human emotion, sure, you're meant to go through real human emotion. Like otherwise, why would you have it? Why would you have so many different emotions?
that's what they say. You lose people to teach you how. That's the whole idea of loss. You just be there. You take it for granted if they was just there, but we lose people along the way to remind us, everything is for a time, and you gotta act now. But yeah, different horses for courses, and the destination is the same for everybody. How they get there differs, and I don't really think there's anything anybody can do about that because they're different.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of life, isn't it? I don't think these things are made for people to go, oh, I'm going to conform and do one thing, because that's dead. Like, you know what I mean? If everyone thought the same way, like the beauty of life is the nuances in life, and it's like when I meet people, it's like they say you got a group of friends, innit? Now more or less your friends are more than likely going to have the same shared values as you, or they should, really. So that's what binds you in. But then it's like I say, the nuances and the differences. It's why like your girl, right, meets you, she meets all your friends. You've all got the same values, the same morals. You could all be like all good looking, but it's the differences in you that make that person like you. Because otherwise they're just gonna like everyone. You understand what I'm saying? It's the only thing. It's even like culture, and culture is like the nuances between different groups of people. Everything is without any differences. Then basically, what's that film? They made that film years ago where they made everyone take that pill and like they stopped like feeling emotions. Equilibrium. You'd have equilibrium, and that's exactly what it would be. Everyone would just be like robots.
Yeah, I think they're modeling it, and you know, it'd be easier for me to understand the philosophy, applying it to the people I've met on my journey. So for me, all of these, like I say, that person who makes them, I know somebody like that. It's not that they're on a religious path, but they're actually like that. So this is what I'm saying. I know somebody like that. They may or may not be chasing money, but that's their approach to when they're doing anything. You know, like that person, I do better if I do it the night before. People have different things, and I think a lot of these philosophies are built around the general characteristics of
100%.
behavior in contrast to they're there to inform people. So for me, a morning person, right, as you say, you know, I said I'm a morning person, period, always have been. But no matter, I can always do stuff at night, but I'm better in the morning. You know, I can do night stuff, so I can learn to be the greatest functioner at night, but I'm innately a morning person. So not in the arena, I would gravitate back to being a morning person. And that would be anybody who is on that same philosophical journey. You can go and learn it, and it will inform who you are, but you're going to be who you are anyway. So whichever path is your one, you're going to be on that, but you can get bits from other ones that inform you, but it's not going to change the essence of it.
So that's what you're saying, like people don't change.
Well, do they? Yeah, you got any evidence of anyone changing in your lifetime?
Do you know what it is? It's a weird feeling, because it's not that I don't think people can change, but I always think you'll be who you're meant to be. If
so
that makes
they
sense.
Don't change it.
I think people can change for periods of time.
Right, appearance.
Which is what you're saying.
Appearance, right. People changing clothes, ain't it?
No, I'm talking about changing clothes. I'm saying like, so I think like, when we're growing up, and we have my sponges. I'm just trying to formulate this in my head. So we're sponges, right? So what will happen is we intake, like our stimuli comes from the outside, so we allow it out. So I don't think we're born with a path. So a lot of people think you're born destiny and fate. And a lot of people believe that where you end up was destined from your born. They do that. People genuinely believe that. People believe that your destiny is your destiny. You're born. You're gonna go through a path. Whatever happens, then you end up there. I don't believe that. I believe you form your own fate. But I do believe there comes a certain point, once your characteristics are built, once you are who you are, once you're on your path, things can knock you off path, knock you off course. And I'm not talking about like jobs. I'm talking about like mentally or
Life.
conscious. Like life can happen and life happens.
Yeah, life is happening.
Yeah. So you can be like, yo, you could be like the most clean-eyed person, like feel like this, that. From your surroundings, what happens, you can then change. You can change, but I also think like
Change
you
what
can
though?
change back.
This
Like
what changes.
your morals, your values, your principles can change due to what's happened to you in your life. So what I'm saying to you is, I think that can happen for periods of time. Some people might never come back to their like natural form, so they have changed as people. But some people,
I don't know. I would say it was in them anyway. You know, someone who.
but everything's in everyone.
That's what I'm about to say, right?
Everything's
Someone
in
who's
everyone.
suffering from depression doesn't necessarily show as depressed. They're hyper or they show us something else, but then you hear that, my man's missing. Then no one stood a chance of helping them because they're presenting as something else continually. But then equally, emotions affect people differently and they're apart. So two geezers find out they're both going out with the same girl. One goes home, commits suicide, the other one goes home and carries on with the relationship. They both just respond to it differently. The girl, she's just living. She didn't mean to have to, she just got to. That's the way.
But this is what I'm saying, so you can have that in loads of different instances, but that's what you just said is exactly what I mean. So you can change momentarily. Like that guy the one who went home. But his whole viewpoint might have changed, finding that information out.
Devastation, man, yeah.
Yeah, his whole viewpoint could have changed. Do you understand? So even though he didn't take it to the extreme of, committing suicide or taking his life, his whole relationship now, he might just be detached from his relationship. He might just be in there because, she might have a nice house. He might want to live in it. He might just want an easy life and just think, you know what, I'm emotionally switched off now. So it doesn't mean that he necessarily hasn't changed. It just means that his circumstance or his
compartmentalized.
So he's changed, but his surroundings, what's the word I'm looking for, man? However he's living his life ain't changed. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Environment.
Yeah, his environment hasn't changed. But yeah, it's correct.
To let go of the game entirely. And so, the Buddha quit the main quest. He abandoned his clan, his wealth and his status and set out on a new path. Instead of competing for high scores and rare loot, he found happiness in the simple things of life. Chilling out in the scenery, driving their car around, all the peace stuff we know Buddhism for, right? Here is where it gets trippy. According to Buddhism, there is no bled, there is no true self, there is no Atma, there is no soul. Instead, the whole game is a set of predefined scenarios like nodes in a cosmic network. Our identities, our memories, our sense of being, all of these are illusions, projections of the mind that are already predefined. So you see, Buddhism isn't just about finding inner peace, it's about confronting the void. That void that exists in the heart of existence. That void that exists everywhere. Jainism takes a unique approach to the game of life. They believe that the simple act of existence causes violence. Every time we breathe, we walk, we talk, we eat, we kill millions of creatures. This violence is ingrained in the game. This is what causes suffering. Jains, however, don't just quit in the face of suffering. They've got a strategy to deal with it. Jains see suffering as a way to level up your character. They believe that by facing challenges head on, you can delete your negative karma points and ultimately conquer the game. It's like when you're playing a tough level and you keep dying and dying, you still know that you are getting better with each attempt. In the world full of suffering, reducing that suffering must be the only logical thing to do. Maybe this is the reason why Jain players do so well in the business world. They are not afraid from working hard. And simultaneously, they don't get attached so much to their wealth. No wonder we have folks like this Gujarati couple who gave away 200 crores of their life earnings. So, in a game where suffering is built in, where being aggressive is not just accepted but also appreciated, the Jain strategy of embracing suffering is a hack of its own kind. Charvaks. The Charvaks, the ultimate rebels of ancient India. These guys made the Jains look like hardcore devotees.
Quickly, just before that, so I would say that I would relate more to the
Jains
than the Buddhist view. I like the idea of the Buddhist view. Again, I'm not going to go too much into it.
pacifist.
But it's also like I kind of like the idea of communism. But then again, at the same time, I'm not a communist. You understand what I'm trying to say about that?
Street
I
capitalist.
I like the idea of it. I like socialism, great. But communism, I'm like, I like a mix of the two, but more so.
Well, that's what I was saying. I think everybody takes a bit from this because the journey, the struggle is with yourself ultimately, innit? So if you like this, you want to be a bit more like this. If you like this, you want to be a bit more like this.
Yeah.
The whole struggle for anybody is with themselves to achieve any of these states. It's you reflecting on who you are and how you think you want to move differently. So, I need to have a better relationship at home. That's reflection on I'm not putting enough pans here, or the fact that your bags are outside the front door regularly, but something takes you there. Then you have to come up with a solution. So the Jainists in that context might go to work even more, whereas the Buddhists would pick their things up and walk down the road more. And so it's just approaches to how people deal with things. But that all feels into the theory that we live in a multi-dimension multiverse, and that for every action there's a similar and another action being taken anyway, but you choose, and that's the one that you remember. So in one, your stuff gets put out, you pick it up, you leave. In one,
It's cause and effect.
multi-dimensional. So lots of things
It's like the
happen.
butterfly effect.
And each of them is just one of those.
Charvaks are all about that
dimensions.
seeing is believing life. If they can't see it, they ain't buying it. So much so that instead of the Panchabhoot, fire, water, earth, wind and sky, they just believe in four. Cause they're like, what even is sky? Can you touch it? Can you feel it? What even is it? The Charvaks are also master hedonists. They don't believe that life is full of suffering. In fact, they think life is full of enjoyment. So much so that a famous Charvak quote can actually be seen somewhere in a bar in Kanpur. Pitva pitva punah pitva yavat patati bhutale utthaya cha punah pitva punarjanmana vidyate. Drink, drink, again drink. Drink till you fall down. And after you get up, drink again. Cause there's no next life, my bro. There's another one. Yavat jivet sukham jivet. Rinam krutva ghritam pibet. As long as you live, live happily. Drink ghee, even if you have to borrow money. That's a hardcore application of Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara. Charvaks, unsurprisingly, don't believe in karma, punarjan, or any kind of afterlife. They think that life is all we got, and we have to make the best of it.
Maybe this is why this one.
The previous one.
But the one that just called, I can't remember what it was called, but the one that's just
Crack
saying,
on, that
crack
crack,
on.
yeah, man.
There's no karma, there's no
But
life
I
after
think,
death.
as I said,
Just be happy.
every day everybody goes through various of
Different.
them.
Yeah.
Every situation demands you to make a choice on one of those states. So there's states of mind, effectively. So you get a phone call, yeah, we're not finished. Up by another time, would have been something else, you understand? And cause and effect create you into one of those states of mind.
Yeah.
They're like the players who don't care about their score or leaderboard rankings, they just want to enjoy the game while it lasts. And that's a segue to the ultimate realists of the game, the Ajivikas. Imagine playing a fun video game. You have played it for days, applying your brain, your mind, your energy. You are about to be the best player in this game. You feel like you have achieved something. And then, your eyes move towards the joystick you're holding. You see that its wire is hanging, disconnected from the game console. It turns out that the game has been in the autoplay mode all along. All that feeling like you were a player who is winning at this game was all an illusion. Welcome to the Ajivika view of the world. In this strategy, your choices don't matter. Your stats, your skills, your moral decisions, they are all predetermined by the game developer. The very moment the Big Bang happened, everything you have done, everything you're doing and will do was all predetermined. Some modern day thinkers like Elon Musk have suggested that we might be living in a simulation. But hey, if everything's decided, maybe there's a weird sense of comfort in that, isn't it? If all your victories, achievements, success was not caused by you, that also means that all this suffering, pain, and failure was also not because of you. There's no need to take blame on yourself. It's not like you have a choice, do you?
Apologies. So, yeah, what I was saying was like when people talk about like that, saying like, oh, you know, it was predestined, so to think that, you know, none of your achievements, so your achievements, that part's not the problem. But I think it's very dangerous for people to think like that, because then there's no accountability in anything you do. It's almost like, it's like a lot of them book, you know, like them books you read, what's it called, like The Secret and The Power of Now, whatever they tell you about. Oh, you know, you can just manifest things and just like everything's like preordained or this is destined and things like that. I find it can be very dangerous, like I said, because of the accountability factor. I think if people feel like they can do anything and nothing they do is their fault, why are they going to look at the choices they made? Because I can already say, oh yeah, but I've done this because X, Y, Z. It's almost in a sense like people, not to a degree, like people blaming the things they've been through on the decisions they make. Because yeah, you've been through that, but you still at some point have to make a choice to do what you're doing.
I don't think they're getting away from making their choice. They're just saying, what difference does it make? It leads to the same ending anyway. So some people, from here to the table, there are hurdles. For some people, it's a clear road, and for some people, you got to go under the floor and come up different paths to the same road. So, but as you say, it's not a permanent state. So everybody gets a bit of each one. Where
it depends, because some people, I think, again, I agree with that. But I'm saying, like, if you really think that your life is determined already, so your path is determined. We all know, like, your end is determined, but your path.
Nobody
is
can think like that, though, Aaron.
Of course they can.
They don't, because this is what they say. In a conversational setting, it makes sense, but the reality is nothing is determined. They still have to get up and go to the toilet, innit?
Yeah.
They don't determine when they go into the toilet. Just like there's lots of other things day to day that they don't determine, they just react to. So kind of saying, well, all predetermined for all these things that I've hung up there, but not for these ones, doesn't make sense. Yeah, there's my family's got loads of money and I don't have to work, kind of predetermination to some elements of life, but other bits, like I said, being diabetic, you react to these things, and it's not.
Yeah, well, look, so it's kind of like, so I get what you're saying, but even at, let's say, being diabetic, certain places, like I spoke to someone who was diabetic before, and they kind of said to me, like, oh yeah, but I swear they said something like it was obviously like God's plan. So there was like some wisdom in them being diabetic, and I looked at them and I just thought, are you crazy? Do you think that really? Or, but some people think like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, and all the time.
Because
it's why they can't look at it and say, when things are going good, yeah, great. Like, yeah, it's predetermined, it's great.
a lot of people think it's always good. They don't know bad. They never get sick.
I don't know.
They don't know anyone who dies.
Yeah, but you know what it is? That's relative to people who haven't. Like, I think everyone at some stage in their life has some test. I think most
Everybody.
people do. Not everyone, but I think most people do.
I would like to think most people
I
do.
think most people do. I don't think everyone, but I think most people have some test at some point. Now, whether that's you can't count losses, then. So you can't count like I can't point score my trauma against someone else's. But if you've been through something and it's had a negative impact on your life, then that might be your test. Now, my test might be greater, or I can't even say it's greater. You might have to climb the same mountain just for a different reason.
Bob Marley say, when the rain fall, it don't fall on one man house top. To me, that's how life is, Everybody gets little something. It's not the same, it's different.
That's what I'm saying, sir. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, life a bit challenges. But the States, it's only a man who's sitting, this is what I'm saying, a guy who gets up every day, goes and sits on the beach. Every day people come sit down, talk to him, give him food and stuff. Doesn't have the same experience as the guy who's got to walk 4 miles to get water and then go back home with the water. So when you meet them, their personalities, character and everything, they're going to be one of those states depending on the day in it, but they might both be like, we generalize, Gambians are like this, or these people are like that. So there's a general behavior and then there's the individual and within that particular behavior.
100%.
So you're not going to get two people who, but they might both have achieved whatever them set out to achieve, but it will reflect differently. So how you know which one is and isn't? So it's supposed to everybody gets a bit of this, and you just choose the right bat for the wicket, innit?
Yeah, but this is what I'm trying to say. But this one, I'm talking about this one in particular. So the fact is, like, I've never looked at life and thought, like, my life predetermined, ever. Kind of like, unless it was when I was a kid, I've never thought this win or this thing was predetermined. I always thought, like, no, I had to put some graft and hard work into that. Yo, and if I didn't do that, then that wasn't happening. Or for this loss I've taken was predetermined. So whether, to be fair, if I thought life was predetermined for me, I think it would just lose meaning. Like, I don't think when people talk to me about, it's fate, it's this, I'm thinking like, what, like, to me there's no joy in that.
Again, it's where you hang your hat. I'm gonna go with everyone has the thing that motivates them, drives them, pushes them. That thing that gives them that sense of purpose, and the way they get the feeling of reward, benefit, achievement back is different for everybody. So let's go. The average person now wants to go on holiday every year. It's important to them because that's what people do. It's normal. It's not normal. It's normal now for
That's
young
what keeping
people.
up with the Joneses.
You
Yeah, it's
understand?
normal now. It's normal now.
So then you say, all right, the middle class, average middle class kid wants it to be normal. And my age group, every year, boy, I go to Jamaica every year. You don't know what's going on for the rest of the year, but every year you know them go to Jamaica. What them do in Jamaica, you don't know. Them just go to Jamaica every single. Obviously important to them, but it doesn't impact on my world except it's just information. So the state that they're in, achieving the thing that gets them into the state, obviously that's important to them. Them save, them do everything to achieve that. Whereas for me, like me say, yeah, that's one way, but if you like sitting in airports for 4 hours and I can find simpler things to do, like give me the same amount of satisfaction.
Yeah, I get that. That's
So
different.
that's the thing. Understanding the state allows you to work within them and appreciate how much satisfaction you actually need from doing something.
But that's self-awareness.
Yeah,
That's just
but
being
that is
self-aware.
what those states give you a framework to hang
Yeah.
how you perceive self-awareness, I suppose. Innit?
Yeah.
Because it's just a model. This one is go get, this one is don't give a monkeys, this one is that.
Yeah. Right, let's go.
Dear Seeker, congratulations. You have made it to the final part of our philosophical journey, the advanced mode. Here on we move into the domains that defy simple explanations, concepts that are so vast and profound that entire libraries could hardly do them justice, let alone this video. Brace yourselves, dear Seekers, for the ideas we are about to explore now will challenge your perceptions of reality, consciousness, and the very nature of existence itself. Let's start off with Advaita Vedanta. It won't be an overstatement to claim that Advaita Vedanta is probably the finest philosophy that has evolved from Hinduism. Everything converges here. Centuries and centuries of dhyan, research, logic, all merged into one fabric, Advaita Vedanta. Advaita is a realization that you, the player, are not separate from the game itself. You are the game. You are both the creator and the creation. You, my dear friend, are just the universe pretending to be whoever you are. Advaita Vedanta teaches us that the boundaries between the self and the non-self is just an illusion. In reality, there is only one player, one game, one consciousness, experiencing itself throughout infinite forms and scenarios. Birth and death, joy and sorrow, success and failure, all of these are just different levels in the great grand game. Advaita compels us to realize that the other players are not somehow our competitors who might be competing for limited resources. Advaita tells us that they are all extensions of the same infinite creativity. The vibration that vibrates in me is also the vibration that vibrates in you, and you is me and me is you. This is the ultimate message of Advaita Vedanta. You are not a disconnected fragment, a lost lonely soul. You are literally the universe. You are blessed to be the form that the universe takes to express itself, to discover itself. By embracing this truth, you tap into a source of power and creativity that is unbounded. This is similar to what Kashmir Shaivism has to say. In many ways, Kashmir Shaivism is the sibling of Advaita and also adds a new dimension to it. While both schools agree that the ultimate reality is one, Kashmir Shaivism emphasizes that the Brahman, which it calls the Param Shiva, is not an inert observer. It is a dynamic creative force that lives and breathes within you. In Kashmir Shaivism, the universe is not an illusion to be overlooked. It is real. It is real, unlike Maya. We are not expressions of one passive originator, we are literally the canvases, the playgrounds on which Shiva dances and manifests himself. According to Kashmir Shaivism, it is not about escaping the game, but realizing that we have the power to shape our experience within it. Kashmir Shaivism invites us to tap into this creative potential and not give in to nihilism. It challenges us to recognize the Param Shiva in us and break away all illusions and shape reality, not just be a slave to it. Tantra. Tantra is an ancient philosophical tradition, and believe it or not, it has been shaped by not just Hinduism, but also Buddhism, Jainism, and even Sikhism. At its core, Tantra emphasizes the divine feminine power, or Shakti. Tantric practitioners have their own set of mantras and rituals that are quite unlike any other kind of worship. Some believe that these practices, including the use of yantras, meaning sacred diagrams, and mantras or sacred sounds, can be used to mold reality itself. The idea is that by tapping into the fundamental energies of the universe, you can alter the fabric of existence. Certain tantric rituals also use unconventional or taboo substances, such as alcohol or even blood. These shocking methods are intended to break down the space between the sacred and the unsacred, allowing the practitioner to truly bypass the material world. While some may dismiss these practices as superstitions, Tantra players believe that they have deep spiritual significance. There is something so primal and instinctive in Tantra that we find versions of it everywhere, from the Aghoris in northern India to Vajrayana Buddhists in Tibet. Ultimately, Tantra is about embracing the full spectrum of human experience, holy to unholy, light to dark, beautiful to grotesque. Tantra challenges individuals to confront their inner inhibitions and break through the mental and spiritual blockages. This path is not for the faint of heart. It requires a lot of courage and almost an ability to surgically operate on your psyche. However, for those who persist, Tantra is transformative and it can lead to a very deep understanding of the nature of reality. We now move on to the final strategy, yoga. People popularly believe yoga is all about physical exercises. Sure, it is a big part of it, but that's just a scratch on the surface. The yogic path is about constantly striving to become better and better version of yourself, seeking constant growth and expansion. The player begins by mastering the physical realm, practicing asanas to build strength, flexibility and balance. This prepares your body and mind for the deeper levels of practice. As you progress, you learn to control your breath through pranayama, harnessing the power of the prana or the life force energy. This skill allows us to navigate the game's challenges with ease and grace. As a yogi, you then turn inwards using pratyahar to withdraw from all the distractions of the external world and focus solely on the inner landscape of your mind. And then, through dharana and dhyan, you develop laser-like concentration and the ability to meditate deeply. Along the way, you also collect powerful tools and upgrades, such as Yam and Niyam, which serve as ethical guidelines and personal observances. Ultimately, the goal of the yogic strategy is to achieve samadhi, a state of pure consciousness. The yogi then becomes the game master, transcending the illusions of the material world. In this sense, the end game of yoga is not about accumulating points or achieving external victories. Rather, it is about unlocking the infinite potential within oneself and realizing the true nature of reality. All these 16 strategies are not exclusive. You don't have to pick just one, and to be honest, there are a lot more than these 16 here. I just picked 16 so that they fit in this grid. The idea in Hinduism, the Indian way of life, is to mix and experiment different styles. Create your own custom package for yourself. Create a own personalized strategy for yourself. This country has always been about celebrating multiple ways, multiple perspectives. There's always multiple different strategies. If you're emotional, you'll probably be into bhakti. If you're logical, Nyaya would appeal to you. If you are having an algorithmic way of looking at the world, there is Samkhya. If you don't like putting yourself in a box, you can be a Charvak. If you like to read stories, there are the Puranas. If you want a more hands-on approach, there is yoga. Basically, there is something for everyone. And that is the true pluralistic inclusivity that I love about the Indian tradition. So guys, do comment in the comment section, what did you feel like and what is your preferred path? And why do you prefer this preferred path? Do let me know in the comments. I'd like to thank PSI Boy, Gandev68, Shaumilina Tarafdar, NFT Wala, Shantanu Banerjee, Kunal Rathod.
What do you think, Pop? Give us the floor.
Alright, I think it was very clear. I like the way it presented the little compartmentalization, short, sharp, than all them long things we've been watching. Watch
So
that
are you doing
again.
a production review?
Sorry?
A production review.
I don't know. I'm just saying in terms of how it serviced me.
How it's
I don't know.
packaged.
Yeah, for me, I like that short, sharp, but I like that because we've done lots of work already, so there's already a foundation of knowledge,
Foundation, yeah.
and that is all I need. So that bit worked for me. Yeah, very clear in terms of it's not everything, it's just a selection of things, and it could get deeper. But as we discussed, I was thinking it's just looking at the man from different positions, innit?
But it's like it says, isn't it? Like that ultimately is the game, isn't it? Like I like to see that when you're saying like this is the last level of the game. It's like you are the game. Because really, like if you break it down, sort of saying it, like
Man, you can only play while you're alive.
exactly, you are the game, and even then it's like even when you're not alive, I guess you're still playing, isn't it? Because your energy's still
Well, the
somewhere.
assumption
It's
made
just,
in
you just go
life,
into a different.
right?
But
The
you're still in
assumption
the game.
made in life is that that's what happens. I don't know if that's the assumption made in death, because there's nobody to account for that, is there? So
Well,
yes,
the
if
funny
we
thing
go on
is-
all these multi-dimension things, life after
There isn't that. There really isn't any death.
transition, you believe in, right? I don't know.
Yeah, so I believe in death, but I believe in transition, is what I'm saying. So the energy's still there, so the game's still being played. And as long as there's people, I guess the game. Because if you are the game, you are even you now. If I believe I am the game, you are me. Yeah, see how, do you get what I'm trying to say? So everyone is me. It's just a different version of me.
Container.
Yeah. It's like it's a different version of myself.
Different containers, same spirit. Yes, I understand all of that, but it's a theory.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily.
This is
I
what
don't necessarily agree with that,
Well,
but I do agree with you.
I hope
I
that's
agree
the
with that
case.
part.
That the spirit exists anyway, and you get to pop in and pop out, and if you don't make it, you get another shot and all that stuff. I also hope the part where you can actually get out of it and achieve, heaven, as them say. So it would be nice to think, right, in terms of
So even when you just said that just sounds weird to me. Like, what is
Why?
like just achieving heaven, or what's heaven? What I
Isn't
don't
it-
get. What's in heaven?
isn't that even in Hinduism they have an ultimate level?
Yeah, they do. I think you have
So
to.
that's the
like
level everybody
Dharma
plays
karma,
for,
you
isn't it?
like- Yeah, no, but I'm saying because they have the 5 thrones, isn't it, or something.
Yeah, but they is
that
one.
Islam?
They have a unity position,
That's Islam.
and they have a unity position above, all them other high positions. They got one God thing at the end.
Yeah, I'm just talking about in just life period, Hinduism, Christianity, Islam, whatever. Like, what is achieving heaven? Because ultimately, like you just said,
A
every
state
religion
of
has
consciousness.
Yeah, so that's where it falls down.
Right,
for me,
but
'cause I don't think
religion
there's no
doesn't present
consciousness.
itself as a state of consciousness. It presents itself as a physical thing that man have to do. So traditional religion Hinduism, like I said, dealing with consciousness and astral, this and that, it's full of information, but what we deal with is a diluted version of it, so it doesn't connect to Astro or anybody else. It doesn't say where it comes from. It just presents its own story as though, look, this happened in isolation. The fact that it happened 42 million times, 5,000 years before, they don't give you that information.
Yeah.
So we're left with the fragmentation. So all of them, pretty much the same thing. You know, is it? We have these Akhenaten style religions, one God, and this is how it's done. And then you have, before Akhenaten, they had multi-God polytheism rule in Egypt, right? So then you have the Sumerian story, which is not about gods, it's about aliens, which them hide from us. Now them throwing it on the table like, so yo, right, again, you know, flat earth, round earth, aliens, not aliens, inner earth people, dimensional people. There's a lot of language going on, but none of it justifies anything that they've said. So all we can ultimately left with to deal with is ourselves. So you have to find the best way of getting yourself through this journey first, before the next journey, because this journey prepares you for the next journey. And as this Hinduism suggests to me is, if you're not ready, you're coming around again.
Yeah.
You get me? So you get to ride till you actually realize, hang on a minute, I should have got off at number 2, not number 7. But everything else is the same: genes, atoms, protons being rolled forward. There are no new supplies of genes, atoms, and protons. They're just collected together differently. But life, them say, is when that light created in the egg, and this is what them don't know. What is that light when an egg penetrates the egg? This is the unknown quantity. No physician can answer it. So one has to assume this is the soul entering the egg, and then it grows to fit, the egg grows to fit the soul. So we can see the beginning, we can't see the end, and this is why everything's unknown. Historically, we can go all the way back now, past Christianity, past Islam, past everything. There's more information and more access. Now that they're going to throw more things on the table. But ultimately, all you ever had was your own destiny in your hand. I can't control what you do, you're my son. But I lost the ability to control you when you was like 9. So from that point forward, it was always about controlling me. And that's the same for you. You're put into grace now, grow to be independent.
Can't control that now.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Then grace kicks in, and you, no matter how you want it, you're a big part player till she says otherwise. But that's what's supposed to happen. Whereas some people might look at it and say, nah, she's not supposed to be independent and strong. I want to be there, like I said, spoiling her and making her weak, no sense of role in herself.
Yeah, so that's the thing, like, you meant to, like, again, like, find
Protecting them, call it.
But yeah, but there's a difference in it, because a lot of it's like manipulation. See, like you were saying, like, you can spoil your kids to a point where they become that dependent on you. They're weak. So what happens is, when you send them off into the world, you know they're always going to come back. So you ain't got to worry. It's like, yo, I know they're always going to come back, because they can't survive without.
If they're so weak, they can't even tell you when you're wrong. You know, you're wrong, bro. You know, to me, what the hell is that? You know, like I said, even when you're doing absolutely wrong, they haven't got a word to say. What is that about? You know, what are you making a monster, bro? It's what I say. If me know you have mental health and you is this age, I'm still gonna make decision things where I'm not gonna say, oh, he's a man, you know. I know you got mental health. Why would I be stepping back, leaving you to make decisions by yourself? Oh, he's got a right as a man. It's a big man now, you know. I'm thinking it's a big man, my son. You understand? That son part don't ever change. So this is how me see. This is what me say. Some man with them daughters, maybe because of the way them live, them have this totally do not prepare your daughter for dealing with waste men like you. And the girls lives mess up. Their dad just overprotected them, probably because of the way they were or their perception of how things are. But relationships are relationships.
100. Yeah, let's wrap this up anyway. I thought it was a good video. I like the way it was set out. Again, just drawing from it, I do think he summed it up nicely at the end. He said it's not synonymous. You're not just one. You probably got loads of these little things, and I think that's true of most people. But then most people, we like to put ourselves in boxes, rather than saying, yo, it's just everything. Everyone likes to be in a box. But yeah, alright, that's a Muslim and an atheist. We out. Peace.